All right, fat boy, you ready? Oh, I got you in your butt. Got you in your butt. Got you in your butt. You can't help it. When you get your butt, we got you. Oh man. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's Wednesday. We're gonna do about a 90-minute show today because I had promised Monkey I was gonna take her into town to get treats at all the shops before they close because we haven't done that in a while, and that's her favorite thing in the world. So we'll close here about 4 p.m. my time. I want to welcome everybody. Good news: Hindenburg Research is shutting down. Nate Anderson, who's the man behind it, he's going away. He's citing the stress. But if you've kept up on the news since Andrew left of Citron Research, got arrested for short and distorts, and their connections to Anson Funds and Anson Funds connections to Hindenburg Research, you will notice that there's very likely a very strong RICO connection to all of it. My guess is that Andrew left is turning state's evidence. That's why his trial is delayed for a year. And Monkey Butt, hey, making loud noises. Yeah. His trial was delayed for a year. It appears that what Anson Fund does is they take gigantic short positions in companies, and then they pay Citron Research and Hindenburg. Hey, Monkey. Yeah, lay off it. And they pay huge sums of money to Anson Funds to Citron Research and Hindenburg to then do a short and distort, meaning they come out with these well-researched, huge articles specifically targeting a company that Anson Funds just happens to have a huge short position on. And then they make hundreds of millions of dollars off of it. And so it appears to be a very large conspiracy. Anson Funds is very likely connected to the mafia. Monkey Butt, I know, you're just loving it. You're loving chewing your bones. You are. You're having a great time chewing your bones. We're just gonna take that. Yeah, you have to just wait a while. Leave it. I can't talk with you going chomp, chomp, chomp. But Anson Fund seems like a criminal organization whose money likely comes from other criminal organizations, which is why Andrew left. His life may be in danger if he turns state's evidence. Right? They're gonna have to put him in witness protection or something, and that's where we are. And the dog's completely distracting me. You know, you can't have your bone. I'm sorry. I know you like your bone. It's a very fun thing, but my God, is it loud? It's very loud. And this is an omnidirectional microphone, so it picks up everything, right? And we just can't have that. We can't. I'm sorry. I hate to say it to you. Your beautiful brown eyes are very sad right now. But yeah, so there goes Hindenburg. Nate's claiming it's like in the Morningstar report here. Hey! What'd I say? I'm trying to do my show and you're chewing. I'm gonna take this guy. I'm gonna take it. I'm just gonna slide it under there where the monkey butt can't get it. There we go. Okay, so Morningstar report. Anderson says there's no specific one thing, no particular threat, no health issue, and no big personal issue. Anderson wrote, "I now view Hindenburg as a chapter in my life and not a central thing that defines me." Oh yeah, I mean, sure, he made millions, absolutely obliterating companies out of existence on behest of criminal organization. So yeah, there's no specific particular threat or health issue. It's just that, you know, I'm so tired of making millions and millions of dollars doing these short and distorts on companies that, you know, I'm looking for some me time right now is basically what it's coming down to. So he did name it after the Hindenburg disaster, after the Zeppelin that crashed in New Jersey in 1937. Yeah, and he's according to Hindenburg's website, its research has led to charges from the Securities Exchange Commission against 65 individuals and federal and criminal charges from the Justice Department against 24 more. But he may be facing charges himself, so we'll see where that goes. Yeah. How about before I organize Monkey here, I'm just gonna do that. Oh, you're so sad. I know, you're the saddest dog in the entire world. Ruin her. I'll give it back to you at the end of the show. Oh, all right. There's 2 super chats here. Stephanie L. If and when the jet stream goes, what will living in Minneapolis be like? Thinking of leaving LA for a more climate resilient city, maybe Atlanta too. Well, I mean, the jet stream will exist. It's just the jet stream without having a nice, solid permafrost and snowfields in the wintertime does this meandering. So it's going to meander and it's going to make for weird weather. Winters in Minneapolis may get worse as a result. So let's see if I can find a good image of meandering jet stream. Let's see here. Here we go. All right. This gives a good example of what meandering jet stream is like. Boom. Oh crap, I think I left the intro on. I'm not realizing that. I never turned it off because distracted by monkey. Okay, well, nothing I can do about it now. Okay, so this has some images of what the kind of jet stream does. For the most part, it's fairly circular. Stable polar vortex is when we have a nice solid jet stream going above, sort of like, you know, where the Pacific Northwest is through the Northeast, and it just does this nice circle. Wavy polar vortex, this is when we get crazy cold systems that come because it's meandering, and when it meanders, it brings down these huge low pressure systems from the Arctic and makes parts of the world much colder than it should be. This is like what draws freakishly cold air out of the north, the Arctic, down into the plain states. I remember last year when the polar vortex hit, there was this crazy thing you could see where I think it was the thermometer in Cheyenne, Wyoming, went from 42 degrees Fahrenheit to like minus 58 in about an hour. That's because the wall of air coming out of the Arctic just came so fast and consumed everything. And it was like a almost 80-degree temperature shift in an hour. Might be records. So that's what happens when the jet stream itself breaks down. And it starts to break down because of if you don't get enough snow happening in the far north, the land is darker than snow. Snow reflects a lot of light back, keeps things nice and cold. It helps to maintain that normal, stable vortex happening. And when you get lots of areas up north where you're not getting the normal storm systems coming through, the ground's not covered in white, so it's absorbing light rather than reflecting light. This causes radiation to escape at night after the ground's been warmed. And when it escapes at night, it causes this uplifting of air, which causes low pressure systems, which sucks the air up north. So you can see air. This part, say, is not getting as much snow, so it's radiating air at night, causing uplift. It sucks the jet stream up, which then pulls down the cold air out of the north again as it tries to relegate itself. And you get these wavy things. This is what's happening right now that caused the polar vortex to happen over the southeast and the Santa Ana winds to happen in California, because you got this huge high pressure system over half of the continent, and then that air had to go somewhere, and it blew west and caused the Santa Anas in Southern California, which accelerated the fires. So Minneapolis, you may have really nice summers. The winter season might be shorter, but you may get really drastically bitter cold snaps that are bigger than what even they would get 20, 30 years ago as a result. One of the things I read years ago was talking about the city of Detroit is probably best set up for climate change, because the winters will get shorter. You might still get really big cold snaps, but because everyone moved away, the homes are cheap. You're going to have a longer growing season, so the gardening and farming is going to be better, and you don't have to worry about sea level change because you're above sea level on lakes. So if you're okay with gnats and mosquitoes, that might be great. Atlanta is going to have brutal summers, and then you're going to be facing events like Helene, where you get those big storms come through and lots of flooding. So you have to be prepared for that. You'll still have natural disasters there, but so you're not going to be able to escape those entirely. But so if you are prepared for that, then you're good to go. Kimber Mirza, dog treat. Oh, we could do that. Because I got a sad monkey, I might as well give her... Oh, there it is. Dog treat, ding dong. One pig ear. You can make crunchy noises on this, because it's not like a giant kettle drum beating in the background like the bone. Okay. Back up there. All right. So, is that all my super chats? Yes, it is. Lone Wolf was first. Congratulations, Lone Wolf. Walter Estrada was second. Avocados was third. Kyle Garibaldi was fourth. Kyle Garibaldi says, why does it feel like the short sellers have an infinite money button and will just wait us out on GME? That's their only goal. The only thing they can do is try to wait us out. And in some cases, it's working. I got messaged by somebody who one time had 700 plus GME shares, and now they're down to less than 200 because they've got bills. They have a life to live. They can't hold on forever. And, you know, that's what the short sellers are hoping for. That's why Ryan Cohn needs to pull the fucking trigger. Quit dilly-dallying around, dude. We defeated the Nazis in less time than it's taken you to pull the fucking trigger. So, Ryan, get off your ass, do your fucking job, accomplish a merger acquisition, do something cool. That's what we're waiting for. That's what we're expecting you to do. So do something, dude. We don't have forever. You're a billionaire, you obviously don't give a shit. So if you want to have your Berkshire Hathaway, where everyone trusts you as like a guru who will build them wealth year after year, then build them some fucking wealth. Jesus Christ, dude. We don't have forever. You know? Warren Buffett built wealth for his people at faster rates than this. So do something. My God, man. Just do something. Literally, there are folks who started college when you bought into GameStop who are now completing their first year of their master's degree. Right? Like, do something. Do something. That's your job. That's why we invested in this. It's not to just sit around and wait for you to close stores and go, something's happening in the future. I'm going to dilute some more. Fucking do something. Do it. Pull the trigger, man. That's your entire job. The reason why you are currently a billionaire is because folks are entrusting you with their money to do something with it. That's it. That's the entire play. Is we're sitting here waiting for you to do something, and instead these lawsuits are just dragging out and dragging out and dragging out, and nothing is happening. So do it. Do it already. Get off your goddamn ass and do something. Quit tweeting Trump bullshit on your Twitter. Quit posting cute little things and fucking do it. There. Do it. Otherwise the shorts are going to win and you're going to play right into their hands, and that's going to be that. Because all your investors can't last forever. We've got shitty healthcare in this country. Any moment someone gets sick, they're going to have to sell all their shares, right? Because they got nothing else. You know, their home has a disaster, their car gets in an accident, you know, they're going to have to sell their shares. And you want to limit the amount of folks who have to jettison their investment in this company, because when folks have to sell their shares, that's when it's over. Then it becomes this high liquidity thing again, and the shorts can do whatever they want to it and short it back down to $2 if they want to. So do something. Do it. Do it. It's not rocket science, man. You've had the opportunity for 4 years now to do something cool, and you've diluted. You made a bunch of cash, and then you've done nothing with that cash. So do something. Do it already. Do it. Do the thing. Do the awesome thing. Bring out an NFT dividend. Turn your shares digital. Do a merger acquisition. Something. Anything. Because right now, nothing going on. You're just making less stores. Your revenue keeps dropping. You get more profit, but that's profit is basically interest on the wealth on the cash you have, which is not having a company. That's just having cash sitting there doing nothing. I mean, you might as well invest in MicroStrategy or anyone else that just takes their bulk of cash and says just sit there and does nothing interesting with it. So do something interesting, man. Do it. No one has all the time in the world. I don't want to be 65 years old waiting 20 years for you to do something. Do it. Fucking do it already. Anyway, Brandon Wells, what's up? Murphdorf Studios, happy birthday, Houston. Making chicken salad for sandwiches tonight. What's your favorite sandwich? A good hot pastrami. With pickles, melted provolone, simple, maybe some sort of spicy mustard in there. But yeah, that. And my favorite one I've ever had, like I've had, like the Katz's Deli's pastrami in New York, and those are very good. But for simplicity and deliciousness, it's not the biggest sandwich in the world. The Monono Mini Mart pastrami sandwich in Hilo is my absolute favorite. If you happen to go to Hilo, find Monono Mini Mart. It is a hole in the wall in a busted ass little mini mall off the strip. You wouldn't even find it if you didn't know to go there. It's a little convenience store, and it's maybe, I don't know, it's definitely smaller than this house. It's tiny. It's maybe 800 square feet total. It's got this tiny little counter, and you order a sandwich there, and the line is gigantic because everyone's getting their sandwiches, and they just whip you up a sandwich. And what they do with it is, it's one of the few places in Hawaii that actually provide a pickle. Because you ask for pickles like on burgers and stuff, they're like, oh, gross, brah. But this place will give you pickle spears. The pastrami's delicious. You can get whatever bread you want on it. But they also throw alfalfa sprouts on there, they're delicious. So like the sprouts are amazing. So that combined with everything else in the sandwich just makes it one hell of a sandwich. And when I go visit Hilo, I basically get one of those every single day. So years ago when I was doing the shows at the park in Hilo, I was there for my friend's wedding. I would go to Monono, I would get my sandwich, and then I'd go sit in the park, eat my sandwich, and then do my show. It was when the ducks would all come by me and hang out while I was doing the show. It was very lovely. And when I was going to school there, I was probably getting a Monono sandwich a couple times a week. I had a radio show on the college radio station that was 2 nights a week, and I would go get my sandwich and do my radio show, and it's just so good. I now want a Monono Mini Mart hot pastrami. It's a bomb-ass sandwich. But yeah, I think that's my favorite sandwich ever. There might be better ones out there. I just haven't experienced them yet, but in my 43 plus years of existence, that's my favorite one I've ever had. And I will continue to eat it whenever I go to Hilo. Like I get off the plane in Hilo, and the first thing I do is I go to Monono Mini Mart and I get a sandwich. So, yeah. So if you're going to Hilo, I say get a Monono Mini Mart sandwich. You don't have to get the pastrami. They've got other excellent sandwiches. It's just the pastrami's my favorite out of all of them, and so now it's all I get when I go there. Dustin Height, 6th, happy birthday. Alexander K, howdy Houston gang. Zappy, shout out to Monkey Butt, Fat Cat, and the Kitten. Well, I've got the Monkey Butt, I've got the Fat Cat, and the Kitten is right over here sleeping on the floor in the danger zone of Monkey's butt. But yeah, they're all here. Right, Fat Cat? Come on, bite things. Oh, bite, chow, chew. Butt scratch. Yeah, can't help it. Jealous Money 9501. Hey Houston, Australia just got its first Wendy's open back up. I reserved the dumpster. It won't be long, and I'll be guzzling that sweet options juice. Cheers, mate. Excellent. Get in there. Get the money however you can at this point. Cirque Individiosa, 1892. Houston. Just saw something about Hindenburg shutting down. Do you know anything more about it? Yeah, they're claiming, and Nate Anderson is claiming, like, oh, it's just time, I'm tired. But I think it has to do with federal investigations into short and distorts and RICO charges. There may have been legitimate things that Hindenburg did that were like, this is legitimate short. Like, I've done the research. This is unsustainable. But there are also some very bullshit ones that seem to be connected straight to Anson funds. And there's a financial connection. Like, they've got the checks from Anson funds paying Hindenburg to publish a short and to sort on companies that they have. So that seems to me to be quite the telltale of why he's calling it quits. Dustin Heights telling everyone hit the like, subscribe, pass videos onto your friends, post them on social media, do a lot of stuff. Murph Studios, I'm having to write a self-evaluation for work. Tell me something good BS to write that I've accomplished this year. Oh man. Devoted much time to realizing goals and overachieving, going the extra mile, and I subverted the dominant paradigm, and discovered new realms in which to succeed. I don't know. So I hate self-evaluations. The first self-evaluation I really had to ever do was my sophomore year in high school in Mr. Pierce's biology class. And Mr. Pierce, at the end of the term, sprung on us that we get to give ourselves our own grade. And he's like, no matter what grade you give you, that's the grade you'll get. And I'll be honest, in biology class, I kind of half-assed it. I probably deserved maybe a B minus, but he let me choose my own grade, so I said A. And he's like, you really think you deserve an A? I'm like, well, whether I deserve it or not, you're going to give me an A, right? And he's like, you're right. And so he gave me an A. And then this girl sat in front of me who was very, like, ADD, OCD, type A personality, who definitely deserved an A, but she didn't want to feel as though she was tooting her own horn. She was like, I don't know, I don't think I deserve an A, do I? And he's like, what do you think you deserve? She's like, maybe a B plus. And he's like, do you want me to give you a B plus? She's like, no. Well, what grade do you want? She's like, well, I want an A. He's like, well, then what? Do you want to give yourself an A? Well, do I really deserve an A? And then you end up giving herself like an A minus, and that was the whole reason why she wasn't able to be valedictorian. So, never be self-depreciating when it comes time to achieving a goal. Like, if you have every opportunity to lie through your teeth to get something, fucking do it. Who cares? Right? Other people do it with no shame whatsoever, and they find themselves in positions they have no qualifications for. But you know what? They make the big bucks. And they fake it until they can make it, right? Or they're in a position of power, and they just make everyone else do things for them, and then they look great doing it. So why don't you take that advantage? Life's short, right? Do the best you can in what capacity you have. But, in this giant corporate oligarchy we live in where nepotism reigns supreme, get yours. But don't be surprised if people criticize you for not being as good at something as you probably should be. But, it's their fault for not tooting their own horn and getting that role, right? So, get yours while you can, man. That's what I have to say about that. So yeah, your self-evaluation, you did great. You're awesome. That's as far if they're going to make you evaluate yourself, you are the best fucking thing they've ever experienced. That should be it. Otherwise, they should pay more attention and do their own damn evaluation. Marcella Giordano. Hey Houston, happy birthday. Thoughts on the confirmation hearing so far if Bondi and Hegseth are the best candidates? Bondi is awful person. Hegseth is an even worse person. Bondi, at least, is a somewhat accomplished lawyer, even if she's been on the wrong side of everything her entire life. And she was a former Amazon lobbyist, and even though she was somewhat endorsed by the Washington Post, they forgot to mention the conflict of interest there, that she used to work for Bezos. Hegseth is a drunk, lecherous, sociopath, racist. Hegseth is straight up a Nazi. And I throw that term around a lot, but like he has the Crusader tattoos, and the National Guard removed him from detail during the Biden inauguration because his own soldiers reported him for being a neo-Nazi. And they're like, oh yeah, I guess probably won't be a good idea to have him at the Biden inauguration because a whole bunch of neo-Nazis tried to overthrow the government 2 weeks earlier. So that's basically where we are on them. And Hegseth at the hearings basically proved that he doesn't know anything. He has no idea how anything operates. He's a sweaty, drunken mess and an absolutely terrible pick. He refuses to do an FBI background check. If you are going to be in the most powerful positions of the government, running the largest military in the entire world, and you're refusing a simple background check, like, I had to get a background check to teach at a community college. If I have to get a background check teaching at community college, you can get a fucking background check to run the largest military in the world and protect our secrets. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear that it sounds like they basically tabled Tulsi Gabbard's nomination for DNI, because Tulsi Gabbard is wholly owned by foreign interests, and there's a reason why she was put on the no-fly list, because she is a traitor to the United States of America and should not be in any position of power, let alone holding secrets, because she will pass them directly to hostile foreign nations, because that's her entire job. These are the worst nominees to ever be made for any cabinet level positions in the history of the United States. Hands down. Absolute garbage. And those absolute garbage choices are chosen for a reason, because A, you either get your sycophantic garbage people into those positions of power, or B, it makes someone who would normally be the worst choice ever slightly more palatable, so you can get in your number 2, who might be your really number 1 in that case. So I'll tell you one thing, Pam Bondi, for being a 60-year-old lady, her plastic surgeon is amazing. She looks 30 years younger. I would never have guessed that she's 60 years old. She's got that going for her. But it's, the Democrats have done an okay job kind of showing that these people are completely unqualified for their positions. But I think what they need is they need the folks who write for like the Comedy Central roasts to write the questions for these Democratic senators who are asking the questions. They need just a little more stick the knife in and twist than what they're doing. They're doing okay, but there's a lot more damage they could do to these candidates to show that they're wholly unqualified. Like when Robert Bork got eviscerated and he had to remove himself from nomination, he was largely considered like the worst thing to ever be nominated. Robert Bork looks like a saint compared to these clowns. So, yeah. Sad thing is the Democrats are in control, so you need some Republicans with a conscience who are like, yeah, I just can't trust these people in power. Otherwise, they're going to be who's in power, and we're going to pay the price for it. Scott Lumley super chats. Houston, did you hear about the Clancy, Prongay, and Murray LLP investigation into GME? No, I've not heard about the Clancy, Prongay, and Murray. Clancy, Prongay, and Murray GameStop. Oh, is this one of those? Clancy, Prongay, and Murray LLP announces investigation of GameStop. Let's see here. New York Business Wire. Clancy, Prongay, and Murray announces investigation of GameStop Incorporated concerning the company's directors and officers' possible violation of state laws. If you own GameStop stock, like to learn about these claims, or have questions concerning announcement or your interests with respect to these matters, contact Tom Kennedy, blah, 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 New York. This is basically the type of stuff that Pomerantz law firm does. Is these guys are paid by a short hedge fund to announce that they're doing an investigation, right? It's just some fucking law firm. Oh, I'm doing an investigation. Their goal is that they put this press wire out there. Boomer investors see it and go, oh no, and they sell the stock. That's their entire goal. It's what Pomerantz does every single time It helps them do a short and distort on companies. It looks like Glancy, Prongay, and Murray are doing exactly that. So Tom Kennedy, I would look at who Tom Kennedy is getting paid for, or who his buddies are. Like, is he friends with, Nate Anderson? Is he friends with Andrew Left? Is he friends with Ken Griffin? Who there, Tom, are you buddies with to make this little $125 press release go out to everybody, and it gets picked up by Business Wire and sent to everyone? It's like, oh, it's a news article. It's one sentence. Glancy announced its investigation of GameStop concerning company and its directors, officers, possible violations of state laws. Okay, what are the state laws? Oh, we didn't actually put that in there. We could put 700 words in here as a press release, but we didn't. We just put one sentence. One sentence. Or doing an investigation into violation of state laws. Okay, which laws would they possibly violate if you're doing an investigation? Is your investigation going to a state and opening up one of their books on laws and reading it all the way through to see if there's a law they violated? Or do you have an idea of what law they violated? If you have an idea of what law they violated, why don't you put it in your press release there, Tom? It's bullshit. Yeah, so now I've heard of it, and it's bullshit. I guess that came out today, huh? 1:15, 10:30 Eastern. I just lost where I was. That was Wendy's one, Hindenburg. Like and subscribe. Self-evaluation. Murphy Studios. As much as they've tried over the last couple of days, GME's new floor seems to be a bit below $28. How many shorts do you think are below that level? Well, after the splividend, it was said that anytime GameStop was over $16, the shorts were underwater. So they had some chance last winter when it went down as low as $10 to do some closing, and maybe some of them did. But it's very obvious that they've been shorting ever since then, and we are definitely above $16. I have no idea where that number is now. For AMC at the time, this is like August 2022. For AMC at the time, it was anytime the price was over $23, the shorts were in trouble. And then they did that 10-to-1 reverse split. So basically, it's mean anytime the stock price is above $230, the shorts are in trouble. So the shorts are doing fine over on AMC side. But GameStop has not done a reverse split. So there's no way for them to really short it down. And the fact they got the cash on hand from the dilutions means there's a natural floor price, because if they wanted to, they could just hand out cash to all the shareholders and it would be, X amount. I think it's like $12, $15 a share. So they really couldn't take it below that ever at this point. So they might have enough cash on hand that the floor price is above whatever the shorts need to have the stock at in order to be gaining money at this point. So, yeah. But yeah, $28, that might be the floor. We've been kind of around 30 for the past few weeks. I think that still allows us to have about 5 million shares in the money. Let's see here. Max Payne. Max Payne is still $25. We still have 5.6 million shares in the money as of today with the options chain. I really wish it was around 10 million still, but 5 million I have to do for right now. And Marcella. Hey Houston. Oh crap. Marcella you just reset and disappeared. One sec. Let's go scroll up. Where'd you go? There you are. Hey Houston, happy birthday. Thoughts on the confirmation? Oh, we did that one. Oh, I already did that one. Antonio Baez. I now check Blue Sky for if and when you are going live, because most times I'm not getting YouTube notifications. I don't know what the hell YouTube's doing. They keep messing up my recorded shows and throwing in 10,000 commercials. And then people are like, I don't watch recorded shows. It's too many commercials. So I have to go through and delete about 90 of them. And then I reset my thing for 5 commercials for every 2 hours. And then go, okay. And then 2 shows later, they put 90 of them in there again. So YouTube, figure your shit out. You're part of the largest corporation ever. So do it. Marcella, we have... Oh, sorry, that's just a question. probably a question there. Barton Weiss, haha, I love the fact that Citadel's latest bond offering is just a tad above junk. Yeah, their BBB is their rating, which is like it's like floating on junk bond status. You wanted to be an investment bank, and the government was like, no. So they're trying to do everything they can that's like investment bank adjacent, but they still are junk status for their bonds, which is pretty crazy. Martin Weiss, who needs a camera with a body like that? Just seared into your memory, right? Snare alert. Oh, Houston. So the GME options chain will not be the trigger for MOAS in the near future. Apparently not, unless we get some sort of crazy, price action tomorrow and Friday. We might get a little bit of gamma with 5 million going in the money, but my guess is that we saw a price action over the last couple of weeks trying to get enough shares to cover what they needed to, and that with the short yesterday, they probably have all the shares they need for those 5 million. So we may not get the zoom zooms. And my options run is, I think, dead in the water unless something magical happens, unless Ryan Cohen pulls the fucking trigger already. Yeah. Ryan Head, XRP is climbing. What's XRP doing? All the cryptos are climbing right now. XRP made to $3 today. Oh boy. So yeah, it did some climbing. Went from 260 to almost 320, 318 or so. All right. Yeah, so it's up there. You're back up to what, 2017 or so for XRP? Very good job. Turkish. Where's the money? Well, Hindenburg stole it. Stu B. Ham, Houston. When is Jimmy gonna rip? I was hoping this week. But apparently shorts have more ammo than I figured. But, Citadel taking on $500 million, probably specifically to short GameStop, is what hammered it down. Geminius Houston, green candles, red candles. At this point, it doesn't even that doesn't even faze me. Yeah, just sit on the shares you have and hope that, our fearless leader actually leads us somewhere. Aaron Salentine, I need a MOAS, man. I truly do. I am tired of seasonal jobs and no work, then work again. I desire MOAS for a massive payday and not worry about money ever again. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice to, have an investment pay off to the point where you're comfortable? Being comfortable seems to be a really nice goal to have. And in our current economy, it takes a lot of discomfort to get to the level where you could be comfortable, and then you don't get to enjoy it. So it's just shitty. So pull the fucking trigger, Ryan. Ryan Head, it's fine. I'm $80 in XRP, but all in on GME over 3 years. All right. Matthew Jackson, what's the most beneficial for the new administration, to burn the economy immediately and then they can blame Biden, or to drag it out? When time-wise does Trump own it? 12 months, etc.? Well, depending on the executive orders Trump issues in those first couple of days that he's back in office, may determine just how detrimental he could be to the economy. I mean, the economists and even financial publications that are generally right-wing, like Forbes, have pointed out how damaging to the GDP his platform would be, from deregulation of markets to getting rid of Social Security, Medicare, to his demands that we get rid of the undocumented immigrants in the U.S., basically vaporizing farms and getting rid of our food security and, things like that. The tariffs enough to probably take several percentage points of our GDP and slip us into recession alone. Seems like it'd be pretty quick. Pretty darn quick. In 2020, I bought a new microwave. Black & Decker was a higher rated one. I bought it. It was $69 on Amazon. The microwave broke. And I was like, oh, I need a new microwave. And I went searching, and it appeared that that same Black & Decker popped up. I was like, huh. And it said, you bought this model in May of 2020. I was like, oh, it's $164 now. So it appears that we're already getting the price hits on things like appliances, stuff that come from overseas already, even though the tariffs have not been put in place. That we're already seeing a big rise in the prices for this stuff, despite the fact that the tariffs have been put in place, because it's anticipatory, I think, to get us kind of used to paying twice as much for stuff than we were before, even though those tariffs haven't hit yet. So yeah, we'll probably see the tightening of pocketbooks as people have less discretionary income and only purchase necessities, and then necessities, and the necessities they buy are going to be like cheap off brands. So they're not going to, if money's tight and the Heinz ketchup's $8 and the Safeway brand ketchup is $4, you're like, well, I guess I'll get the Safeway brand ketchup, right? So, yeah, you're going to see us buying more crap. I went on that rant the other day, last night, I can't remember, about how Americans buy just garbage, and then we have to buy the garbage over and over and over again because the quality's terrible. You're going to see a lot of that. So you're going to see a lot of basically people buying throwaway items, hoping that they last long enough for them to get their money's worth out of them, because they won't have the money to get the good thing that will last them a long time and save them money over the long term. So, that's what's gonna that's the part of the market that's probably gonna do well, is the cheap garbage market. And yeah, snort alert. Oi, Houston, sexy underwear. Do I have sexy underwear on today? Well, I got fireworks on my underwear today. My 4th of July underwear, but it's not the 4th of July. Eric, do you think Roaring Kitty will post something or not anytime soon to help drive this up? I wonder if past tweets could have meant anything. I would have hoped he would have been hitting it during these leaps, and then nothing. But then again, the options chain, while being really loaded, wasn't loaded in the way that Roaring Kitty had done so in May and June. Remember, he had 120,000 of them alone, all in the money, at like the $20 level. We didn't see that kind of purchasing of options, so maybe he didn't have any options in this play. It's very possible. Maybe he's looking to do it again this spring. I don't know. But so it would be nice to get a YOLO update, because it's been more than 6 months since we had one. And, give us an update. Nazar Bratko, No Lab news? Got no news from No Lab. Other than in March, they're going to have their vote on whether they should do a reverse split, which... Charles Bronson, fraud has been found in the BBBY bankruptcy, so why can't company reemerge on its own without needing RC and the Knowles? They have to do some sort of filing. Well, I think they need the court ruling to show that the board committed fraud, and then they could do that. And that may take some time. I think that Goldberg and company, in the lawsuit against the former board, need to bring in JP Morgan. You get JP Morgan in there as a liability in this for the defendants, then you might see a settlement offer in the tune of billions. So that's kind of, I think, what needs to happen. Maybe they're working on that. I don't know. I'm not your friend. Aloha from Wahoo. Poor monkey gets the blame. Yes, you do. You awful little dog. Oh, Martin Weiss got what 3 words for us. So let's what 3 words it. Coldness Squad Outposts. Come on. Give it to me. Let me to copy that. There we go. Copy. Go back to there. I will go to the meandering and go, what? 3 words. What? Boom, boom. Boom. Where are we? We're in the desert. Wa-on Namas. Crater with 3 lakes. Oh, there is a crater with 3 lakes. There's a crater. There's 1 lake, 2 lake, 3 lake, and 2 ponds, 3 ponds. Maybe a 4th there. Maybe a couple others. So, on Namas Lake. So where are we? I have no idea where we are. I'm gonna guess because it's Arabic. We are in, I don't know, Libya or something. Okay, we got some good darkening around that. Okay, Biko BT. Oh, holy crap, Libya! How good am I at GeoGuessr? Huh? I'm so good at this game. There we go. So Libya. All right. Is there any roads going to crater with 3 lakes? Oh, yeah, there's this little road here. There is whatever that is. And then looks like there must be some sort of dirt road here. We just can't quite see in the satellite photos. Wah wah wee wah. What was it called again? Wa on Namus? Wa Namus? Wa Namus. Wa on Namus. So the crater, is the crater volcanic? It looks volcanic. Because this looks like volcanic soil, but we got looks like black dunes here. You know what? I think I need to pull this thing up on Google Earth because I have a feeling there's probably some really cool pictures here. Wa on Namus. Wa on Namus, Libya. Shabam. Okay. Oh, we got lots of pictures. All right. What do we got here? Do we have black dunes? No, that's the crater. Okay. I can't quite see that one. But it's got, got some cattail reeds. Looks like some date palms. All right. All right. What do we got here? Oh, here we go. Here's what the dunes look like. Give it to me. So there is like basalt sand mixed in with the dunes that are piling up. That's kind of cool looking. I like that. Okay, what other how about you? What do you got over here? Oh, that's what the crater looks like. So it does look like a volcanic cinder cone here. So there's a crater. There's lakes around it. We do have black dunes, kind of gravelly looking because it's from cinder most likely. But yeah, that's cool looking. That's a great spot for like an alien world movie set. Here's more. Looking at the cinder, the kind of dunes forming around it, the little oasis of the lakes. I dig it. I dig it. Looks like there's a trail that goes to the top of the crater. Got some off-road lines here from various bikes and things. Oh, we did that one. How about this one? That same type of thing. What about inside the crater? That's from above one of the little lakes. How about you? What do you got for me? Don't care about that one. That's not very cool. All right, got a little salt pan on the lake there. Got the off-road guys up here. Got the date palms. That's cool. I like it. I like that spot. That's a cool looking spot. That's definitely a spot I would like to visit. Some more Bedouin camps here. Ooh, what's that? This is next to it. Oh, is that bitumen? Is this like a natural tar field? That's what it looks like, right? That's cool. That looks like natural bitumen coming out of the soil. Neat. Man, what a cool place to go visit. Can we please get this whole region stable again so that I can go through here and look at rocks? Oh, what are you? That's a cool escarpment right there. It looked like an airfield from above. Plus, there's like lots of cool spots where there was old World War II battles and stuff I'd love to go check out. And I don't think I'd be very safe trying to go through here and look at rocks. So can we please get everybody happy and hanging out and kumbayaing so that, I can go to some place like Libya and look at rocks in the desert. That's all I want. Super chats. Low B. just got here. Did you talk about Kevin Malone's tweet from yesterday? It says he thinks Fidelity's insolvent. He posted a super stonk or posted an SS of U.S. bankruptcy code section 741 along with it. I saw his tweet. I did not get in there deeper. I think there's evidence that Fidelity may be having issues because the folks who have GME stuff, they put cash in. It normally takes, you do ACH or whatever, and it takes like 4 or 5 days for the money to get through and to clear, and then you can do your trading. It used to be that you could use like $1,000. If you put $2,000 in them, I literally use $1,000 right now to do trading. And then they're like limited to like, oh, you can do trading, but you can't do trading on any of these meme stocks with that money. You used to be able to buy options with it, and you can't buy any options with it. And then it went to like all of a sudden people put their money in like October, and it still hasn't cleared. What the hell? That seems wrong. So yeah, there's evidence that weird things are happening at Fidelity. Whether they're insolvent or not, I don't know, but definitely concerns. Definitely concerns, right? So Fidelity may need to do some answering to regulators and their clients. I know Fidelity manages the pensions for several relatives of mine, which, that'd be worrying if they're in fact insolvent. Like what safeguards are there on those pensions for my relatives? They manage my 401k. So yeah, like, what'd you do? What's going on? Corporal Walnut Super Chats. Won't aliens be some bacteria on a rock somewhere? I mean, possible. I mean, we have bacteria on rocks here, so, alien could come down and be like, there's bacteria, found alien life, and then, some dumb human walks up to him and goes, what about me? And they're like, we don't care about you. And let them off. Super Chats. Why do stocks trade so much above their earnings? Because there's too much money. And by too much money, I mean there's too much money in rich people. If you give more money to someone who's middle class and lower, they do things with it. They take the vacation they've always wanted to take. They update their car. They renovate their house. They pay off loans, the credit cards. They take that money has a high velocity through the economy, and it's used to purchase stuff and do things and achieve things. You give rich people money whose needs are already met, all they can do with it is invest. And so they invest. And we have lots of issues with rich people investing too much money, basically, because they have too much money. And you look at the Forbes list, right? And Elon Musk will be at the top at possibly $300-400 billion, whatever. You got Jeff Bezos and Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and whoever else, Mark Zuckerberg and whatnot, all like centibillionaires. Larry Ellis might be a centibillionaire now. I don't know. They all have so much money, and all they can do with that cash, you can buy a super yacht. Okay, Jeff Bezos just purchased the biggest super yacht in human history, and it's 8 days of passive income for him to buy the biggest super yacht ever. He can't. What are you going to do with buying a super yacht every week? Right? Like, yeah, this is great for super yacht business, but now he has a super yacht and he doesn't need to buy one for a while. And he's still collecting wealth. The wealth is still generating, right? You get people like on the Forbes list who are worth maybe $1 billion. They're one of the 800 billionaires who live in the United States. They're worth $1 billion and change, right? But in reality, that $1 billion and change is investments they have here in the United States that we know about, right? They could have a family fund that doesn't report things, so it might be an estimate. They could, be publicly declared as they've got, 11% of this company, therefore that's publicly declare their ownership. But my feeling is that if you see anybody worth hundreds of millions or billions of dollars, they've probably offshored much more than that. They probably, got their first big windfall, created an offshore holding company, put their cash in there, and are now trading from offshore. So when 40 to 45% of all investments in U.S. markets come from foreign investors, a huge portion of those foreign investors are actually Americans who have offshored their cash into tax havens who are reinvesting in the market with that money. So, you know, if you imagine, like, we've got huge pension funds, we've got huge index funds, those guys invest in the markets and they're a huge portion of the market, but then 40 to 45% is coming from overseas, and let's say half to 90% of that are Americans taking money that they illegally stored offshore and reinvesting in the markets through their own hedge funds and stuff like that, and holdings companies. Then you can probably imagine that these billionaires are worth 5, 10, 50 times more than they are in the Forbes list. You know, picture a guy that's worth $1.5 billion in the Forbes list. He might be worth $50 billion because it's all stored offshore in tax havens. So if you give these people a whole bunch of money, they got to go buy something with it. And they're going to buy stocks because it allows them to, like, sit back, and it makes them even more wealth in the long run. And the more money you give rich people, the more stocks they buy because they have all the houses they need. They've done all the vacations they need to do. They can only buy so much toilet paper, right? And it doesn't cost that much more to feed them than it does a normal family because the human body can only consume so many calories. So even if they're buying the fanciest products, right, it's still only a couple $100 a week. So the reason why the stock bubble is so inflated is because rich people have too much money buying stock and are buying stock with it. And we allow these corporations to do stock buybacks, inflating the value of the stock as well. So it's a bubble. It's a giant, huge bubble. And we are, by limiting the amount of money the poor part of America gets and ensuring the rich people get even more, we're going to create that bubble. It's going to be a giant disparity between the market and what the actual economy is doing. So there's a complete disconnect, which is why the Buffett index is so out of whack right now. And yeah, so that's why. You have companies like IEP that pay out 20-something% a year in interest or in dividends, and they're worth $9. And you got companies like Nvidia that are worth 10 to 30 times more than they should be, but because everyone puts their money into it, the price goes up. And I think the solution is that A, you repatriate money from overseas at any cost. Like, if you say, hey, we'll do a tax holiday for those of you who repatriate your money. We'll only take 10% of it, right? If you bring your money back in the U.S. And you got 1 year to do it. And if you don't do it, we're going to throw your ass in prison and confiscate everything and freeze all your bank accounts overseas and treat you like a terrorist. And that's to me, that's what I would do. You got a bunch of money in the Caymans or Bahamas or Cyprus or whatever, Panama, Belize, the British Virgin Islands, Singapore, and it's unreported and we can't tax it or whatever. We're going to throw your ass in prison. We're going to take everything. So you have to use a public defender because you won't be able to afford shit. And we will figure out a way to repatriate that money ourselves. And to me, that seems to be a great way to fund the government and to ensure that these people stop taking money out of America and putting it elsewhere, where it's just going to sit and accrue wealth that we can't use to pay for the services and the government that we have. So I'm kind of draconian in that sense. Like, one time, it's about 10 years ago, they're trying to figure out how to get Apple to repatriate some $200 billion in cash they had overseas. I think it was in Ireland or something. And they're like, please, Apple, bring the $200 billion cash back to the U.S. And Apple's like, no. When it should be, hey, Apple, bring your $200 billion cash back to the U.S. or else. That's what it should be. You should be like, bring it back, so we can tax it, or else. And if they're like, well, what are you going to do? Seize Apple. Congratulations, Apple stock is worth $0. The United States government now owns it. That should be the response. And if you do it once, no one else is going to do it. Right? So, like, treat rich people crimes. Punish rich people crimes more than poor people crimes. That's what it should be. that if you are in a position of power, you're an elected official, you're a head of a corporation, whatever, like, you commit a crime, you do tax dodging, you do sketchy shit, you should be held as an example so that other people who are filthy rich are too terrified to do it themselves. Right? Because, like, they're not desperate. Someone who has to steal a piece of pizza because they're starving, that's desperation. That should be held in a different category than somebody who has everything and yet still wants more. So I think the way you solve that is by setting examples of those criminals to make it so awful they never want to do it again. Like, Robin Hood got fined $45 million for basically doing billions of dollars in fraud. That's just the cost of doing business. If you made it so that Robin Hood had to pay billions more than the amount of money they got from the fraud, they will never do that fraud again. If HSBC gets busted doing naked shorting on $18 billion worth of stock and you fine them $100 million, there's no incentive for them not to do $18 billion in naked shorting again. Right? You fine them $20 billion so that they lose money in the end, so that it does not pay them to do that. But that's not how we operate. We don't do it that way. We go slap on the wrist for rich people. Oh, if they happen to steal from other rich people, then we send them to some sort of club fed where they can still play tennis and go swimming, but they're in jail for a while. We need to do better at taking these oligarchs down a notch. And with the incoming administration, that's definitely not going to happen. All we can have the pipe dreams and the wishes and everything else, but this is the bed we made because we acquiesced our democratic power to the wealthiest individuals we can, because that was the system that was created by the founding fathers 250 years ago. So anyway, right, dog? Well, this is cathartic to bitch and moan, right? Circ and videos 1892. Thanks, Houston. That's what I like to hear. Sorry, I just noticed my question was in your title. Oh, Charles Bronson, Houston. Just tired of hearing about BBBY, this and that. Like you said, it's been forever. Dates keep getting pushed back. It's crazy. Oh yeah, every hype date you see, I'm like, oh cool, hype date. It's gonna pass. Nothing's gonna happen. Why? Because just like every other death cult out there, when you try to predict the end of the world, it goes right by it, and the world keeps going. So, I have a sibling, my oldest sister, who she was quite a fundamentalist Seventh-day Adventist back in the 90s, and it was really annoying. Like, everyone, you're going to hell. You're celebrating Sabbath on the wrong day. You're going to hell. The Catholics are going to take over the United States, and the UN New World Order is going to happen, and blah blah blah, and the apocalypse is going to happen. And it's like, dude, your own Bible tells you that no man will know the date of the apocalypse. Like, you know. So my thought as like an 11-year-old at the time, as a 6th grader, is like, well then, why don't we predict the end of the world, have someone predict it every single day, and then be wrong, and then it won't ever happen? She was like, that's against God's will. I'm like, hey, if rich people can have loopholes, so can everyone else. But yeah, every hype date is wrong. I just can't pay attention to hype dates until these stupid court cases are out of the way, and just end it already. Just fucking get these things dismissed and move on with our lives, and then maybe I can start paying attention to some hype dates. But now we're gonna have some bullshit lawsuit from that stupid law firm with their one sentence dumbass business wire PR release, and that's kind of redundant. PR release, their stupid press release. They did a PR release at the ATM machine. So just lawfare going on, and will never end. Never end. Droopy Ham says, hodled item in hands. MS, hi Houston. When does Greenland melt so Trump can exploit it? It's melting right now, man. Melting real quick. Seagill, happy birthday, H. UVix just 10x reverse split and no doubt just annihilated my calls. Ah, shit. They do that about every 6 months. They do their reverse split because it's a decaying ETF, so it decays over time, and you might get a spike in there, and that's the stuff you're looking for, is that spike when the market hits the fan. 469 looks like my option. I think you meant to say options, but it says opinion or nuked. Yep, ditto. Charles Bronson. To the people that held or sold any meme stock due to hardship, I'm just letting you know I understand. Some people don't though. Yeah, I mean, life happens, dude. You have to live. You got to feed yourself. You got to pay your rent. You have to ensure you got your health care, and someone goes through their cancer treatments or gets treated for a horrible accident they had. Like, life happens. You just can't blame them for that. What I can blame is the billionaire who's not pulled the trigger yet. I can't blame that guy. Do your fucking job. That's what we have you for. So do it already. We're not billionaires yet. So we have things in our lives that are tedious, monotonous, hellish, expensive for us, and we don't have the comfort of you being able to have multiple homes and private jets and luxury boxes to hockey games and all that stuff. So just fucking pull the trigger, dude. It's not that hard. If I were in charge, I'd been able to pull the trigger like 3 times by now. So do it. Alex Bishop's tired. Yeah. Alex Bishop also thinks RC is not on our side anymore. See, this is what happens if you take too long, is that you lose faith of your investors. If you don't make your investors wealthy, your investors are like, wow, this is that type of guy who can make us wealthy, and they're going to abandon you. So if you have any other projects in the future, they're not going to invest in it. Buffett made people rich. Thus, he earned their loyalty. If you aren't making people rich, they're not going to be loyal to you, right? So don't take 4.5, 5 years to make them rich. Do it faster than that. There's no reason it should take this long. None. So, zip zop, chop chop. Charles Bronson, Houston. If Citadel needs to borrow $500 million, then this means they are broke. They are worth billions. How bad is Citadel looking right now? Oh, every January and March, you'll see them float a $500 to $600 million bond because they don't have money. They don't. They are underwater on what they owe versus their assets. They have 70 billion assets. They owe $72 billion in securities sold, not yet delivered, right? So they're going to have to borrow. They'll have cash coming in from shorts they do and stuff, and they may get windfalls every once in a while from wins on the options chain, but it is not at any level that means they truly have like huge amounts of capital. So yeah, that it's, and the fact that it's basically junk status bonds that they're selling shows that the real people behind things go, these guys aren't as solvent as everyone thinks they are. LB, my daughter was a senior in high school when I got into GME and AMC. She's graduating college in a few months now. This moass is taking a lifetime. Yeah. Like, your daughter went from adolescence to adulthood in this amount of time. Is going to have her own career and life and things. And, yeah. Antonio Baez. I have said this before. Cash is king right now. I think Warren Buffett, the economy is uncertain. I don't know. Yeah, Warren Buffett's sitting on $200 billion in cash for a reason, because he knows that everything is unsustainable the way it is. What he doesn't know is when it's finally going to, like, the rug pull is going to happen, or the trap door is going to fall out, or whatever metaphor you want to use, where everything starts falling in on itself and imploding. But it's coming, and he sold near the high at least. So he's got his cash. It's probably all that cash sitting in accounts earning 4 or 5% a year, so it's not getting smaller. It's probably keeping on pace with inflation at the moment. Since 54, I back Roaring Kitty. RC has been of no use, no action at all. When RC tweets, I don't even bother looking anymore. If the net worth starts with an M or a B, they are not about you. You are cattle to be used as needed. And that's the skepticism I think you should bring to all rich people. Like, don't know if you saw Neil Gaiman. His article came out about Neil Gaiman, who people thought of as, you know, this nice, kind, gentle male feminist who, you know, was worldly and thoughtful, all these things, and it turns out that he perhaps was sexually abusing and raping lots of women over the years. So like, it shows you that like even people that you think you can put the most social trust in will still use that to violate it in the end. You know, so like, yeah, somebody presents themselves, Dan Price. I remember Dan Price was, he's like the billionaire with a conscience. He had, was like Velocity Payments or something like that was his company. And he talked, you know, years ago, he was like, the minimum wage of my company is going to be $70,000. I'm only going to take a $70,000 salary. And everyone's like, oh, yay. And then he tweets all this stuff about like corporate responsibility for workers and all that stuff. And it turns out Dan Price is a complete psychopath who's out there just raping women left and right. So like there are instances where people, men especially, will try to inoculate themselves from criticism through sort of performative good, right? It's like a facade to like the evil mask behind it. They're like, yeah, and then they're like, you know, yickety yak yak yak, all this socially conscious stuff, and then they just don't follow through on it. And you know, I don't know, maybe if I get showered with billions of dollars, all of a sudden my brain comes to a change, like, yeah, fuck all of you, right? I hope not. I hope I wouldn't become that type of person. But then again, I don't have like the drive. I don't want a 500-foot mega yacht. I don't give a shit about that, right? I'd rather have a 40-foot sailboat so I can go out with my family and we can like do things and pull lines and choose our path and destination. It seems like way more fun than some giant mega yacht. But then again, I never had a mega yacht full of supermodels, so maybe I will like that. And I'll be like, you know what? Screw the sailboat. Having a private staff feed me caviar while I'm in a hot tub full of naked ladies, perhaps that may change something in my brain. But at the moment, looking in the future, that's not necessarily what I want out of life. I want, I don't know, experiences over luxury. Does that make sense? I don't know. I guess not growing up with money and not knowing anything else. Maybe my brain chemistry will change. I'll become some sort of megalomaniac and have like pygmy rhinoceros heads in my study, and I'll be out there just like eating ivory and, I don't know, enslaving entire populations to get natural resources. What do you think, Monkey? Or would you be a megalomaniac if you had all the power in the world? She's like, all I care about are pig's ears. I don't have those right now. Okay. Dead guy monitor. You need to reset. Come on. There we go. Martin Weiss. According to my Google Maps research, you can no longer swim from Houston, Texas to the eye of Africa. Missed the days when Google had some humor left. That would be impressive swimming right there. First Day Productions, I have a decent vinyl record collection, and for some reason, I can't stop buying Beatles records. I need help. Well, you know what you like, apparently. There's only so many Beatles records. That's the thing, is that when you have one of them, it seems to do the job of all. Maybe if you find one that's in better condition than the one you had, you just swap them, right? You just replace it. Maybe that's the solution. Or enjoy the fact you've got lots of Beatle albums. Revel in it. Be like, this makes me happy, and then enjoy that. I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shirts. You guys have seen lots of them. They make me happy. I like having patterns. The visual, me seeing a pattern sparks a dopamine response in my brain, and it's a simple thing, and it makes me happy. So I like it. This particular shirt was given to me by my best friend for my 14th birthday. That means I've had this shirt for over 29 and a half years. It still fits me. So I'm proud about that. That I can wear a shirt from when I was 14 and I still look pretty darn good in it. I do have a tear on this shirt. Right there. You can see that stitched up. Twice. Climbing the same fence. I tore this shirt, and then a few years later I tore a ski jacket, and so my sister stitched that up for me so that it's no longer torn. The ski jacket one had a good story behind it. The last day of school, when I was in high school, I with my best friend, we formed this concert series called No More Schoolapalooza. Because here in Bainbridge, the last day of school became absolute juvenile delinquent chaos. And it devolved into these water balloon fights that happened all over town. And the water balloons then evolved into shaving cream bombs. In order to do a shaving cream bomb, it's half water, half shaving cream. So it explodes and foam everywhere. They're fun. But we decided, like, if we held a concert in the waterfront park downtown, that all the kids would come down there, and that's where the chaos would happen, and it worked. And so my senior year, the seniors finish school like 3 days ahead of everyone else. They have their graduation the weekend before, and they don't have school the last couple of days. So I was setting up the sound booth at the waterfront park at the stage, and the weather had been kind of gross, so I had worn my ski jacket, and I had it on the back of a chair in the sound booth, and when I did something, came back and my jacket was gone. And I was like, thankfully, it did not have my wallet. My wallet was in my pants pocket, but my house keys and the car keys were in there. And the only people who were down there, people that I knew, at least that I saw. And I was like, oh, crap. If someone I know stole this thing, they know where I live. So my family had to spend some money to change the locks on the car, change the locks on the house, all these things. And then I forgot about it. And about a year and a half later, I was skiing at Crystal Mountain. I think I was going up the Queen's Chair. And what happened was, I'd hopped a fence in that jacket. I tore the base jacket, same spot, like it caught in the fence, and I tore that jacket. And then my sister embroidered this like sunflower type looking thing, stitched together, because it was a nice Gore-Tex jacket, and then it'd make it look really cool having it stitched together like that. And I'm going up the chair, and I saw my jacket snowboard past me. This bright yellow Sierra Tech Gore-Tex jacket with a little embroidered sunflower on it, just went snowboarding past me. I was like, no way. So I skied that run for like an hour and a half, just going up and down, hoping to find this kid. And I finally got him. This little twerp on a snowboard. I saw him. I skied up as fast as I could and just shoved him over. And he went tumbling, and like half of him ended up in a tree well. And I dragged his little ass out of there, and I ripped the jacket off of him. I said, "This is my fucking jacket." He's like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "You stole this jacket from the back of a chair, waterfront park on Bainbridge, last day of school, a year and a half ago." And he's like, "Oh my God." So I left him there in his fucking cotton long johns, took my jacket back. So, yeah. That's a little walk to go for. Tore the shirt, tore the jacket, found this kid a year and a half later. Apparently he'd been like a middle schooler when I was a senior in high school, and he's like, "Oh, free jacket." I asked him what happened to the keys. He's like, "Oh, there are keys in it?" So he must have just thrown them away or something. All right. But anyway, if your vinyl records make you happy, then who am I to say it's too much? If your vinyl records make the people in your life unhappy, right? If you have like, for some reason, you have the same Beatles record 500 times and they're like, "Please, I need a shelf to put my things." And you're like, "No, my vinyl records." Then you might have a problem and need to address that. But otherwise, who are you hurting? No one. First Day Productions, I tried explaining to the 4-year-old that it's perfectly normal to accidentally poop your pants, but he still makes fun of me. Hey man, twice in my adult life it's happened. So, what do they say? You never trust a fart. But there's also another saying, love is a lot like a fart. If you have to force it, it's shit. Right? So take that. That's something to impart upon your non-existent 4-year-old. Che, when World War Z? Depends on what the bird flu does, I guess, right? Soon. House Takeover. What's up with No Labs? Happy birthday. No Labs is currently languishing because they released a filing saying that they want to do a reverse split. So that's up in March, and it'll probably languish until the reverse split, then it'll reverse split, then it'll languish even more as it will get immediately shorted. That's what usually happens. So Ron needs to do some PR or something big. What No Labs needs? What No Labs needs is they need a 60 minutes expose on their technology. That's what they need. They need to have, one of the folks from 60 Minutes come, interview Ron, interview the scientists, talk about the future of this wireless technology and being able to like look at how many atoms are inside something. They need some real international PR, and people go, "Oh crap!" And then all of a sudden the stock will fly. That's what they need. So Ron, I know you're not watching Ron, but Ron, get 60 Minutes on the line, because 60 Minutes has done this stuff for companies before. There was the guy who was dying of cancer, and he came up with an idea, because gold's inert, right? So you take a bunch of gold nanoparticles and you inject it into the cancer. I don't know, cancer's there, or cancer's here, whatever. Inject it into the cancer. So the gold's sitting inside the cancer, and then you go through a radiation field where there's radio waves that are at the resonant frequency of gold, and so the radio waves pass through everything, but they hit the gold and excite them and cause it to basically cook the tumor, right? And so it cooks the tumor, and then the tumor dies, and you're basically fine. Might have a couple of burns in there, but the tumor's gone, and you're good to go. And they did a whole 20-minute piece on this dude who wanted permission from the government to test it on himself because he was dying of cancer. And the government was like, absolutely not, you cannot do it. And they ended up dying and never going to test this thing. And now, 15 years later, I just read an article about there's a whole company that has a whole system to do exactly that. That now has FDA approval, and they're going out there. But this dude was just one lone guy trying this invention, and 60 Minutes for some reason showed up and did a whole story on them. So why can't 60 Minutes show up, do a story on No Labs about having non-invasive glucose monitors that are absolutely going to take over the market and replace all of the invasive versions and finger pricks out there? Seems to me like it would fit in line. So get your PR people, call up CBS News, bring them over, right? So, yeah. If I had the cash, I still want to do sort of 60 Minutes style interviews and call it Houston, we have to talk. And because I know lots of cool people who do cool shit, and some of them, they might not be on the level of 60 Minutes or whatever, but like if you have a good conversation with them, you go, wow, that's some cool shit that they do. Former NBA players turned world champion pinball players, like, bassists to some of the largest bands in the entire world, but no one thinks about the bassist, right? So I think it'd be kind of neat to do that. And I think, probably generate some good YouTube traffic if you could do like 10, 15-minute episodes with these folks and sort of explore their lives and the cool, unique things they have. But that costs money and several camera operators and editing that I don't have. So I was hoping to get some, one of these options wins, and I could afford to start doing that self-seed on that. But here we are doing the cheap version, which is just me talking into my Chinese cameras, and we hang out together. So at least we got that going. I got 5 minutes. Got 5 minutes, monkey, and then we're gonna head into town. Video brand. Seems like that's an attempt to drive price down. Oh, are you talking about that little law investigation? Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Ludicrous speed. Does this mean Hindenburg has to close short positions, and do you think it will impact GME? That is a good question. By shutting down, does that mean he's finally closing all the short positions? I know that Hindenburg is massively underwater on Roblox. They did this giant hit piece on Roblox, and Roblox immediately addressed all their concerns. The stock is up 50% over when Hindenburg had announced that. So maybe they took a huge short position on Roblox, and all that money is tied up in that, and they're underwater. So, Nobles Houston, what do you think about BBBY bonds? Oh, they're going to pay out. They're either going to pay out, probably pay cash, face value cash to all the 2024s, would be my guess. And then the 2034s and the 2044s, those are probably going to get some cash, maybe that 2.5% cash, and the rest is going to be paid out in equity, be my guess. So in the end, I think you're going to get more than what you're paying for their value at that time. BTW brand, did you hear Tether wants to move to El Salvador as their home country? Weren't they the ones who pegged their currency to Bitcoin? They pegged their currency to the dollar, but every Bitcoin run happens when they mint a whole bunch of Tether. So you see Tether, if you see Tether mint $5 billion in Tether, you know Bitcoin's going to fly because they're going to take all that Tether and buy Bitcoin with it. So the price action ends up flying as a result. There's a study done a couple years ago that showed like a 274% correlation between Tether minting coins and Bitcoin going up. But yeah, they want to move to El Salvador because there's no extradition treaty with El Salvador, and they're all going to go to prison for the biggest financial crime probably in history. That's maybe Nvidia might be larger. I don't know, but Tether is sketchy as heck. Okay. Ciz54, oligarchs must be dealt with how? I don't know, but we need to put a cap on this. Yep. John Vasquez, is CPI a joke? Eggs up 39%. Not here. Up from 225 dozen to 545. Oh yeah. Well, chickens are dying. So basically, chickens are dying by the millions, or having to be purged by the millions cold due to bird flu. Bird flu is just wiping out bird flocks. And one of the problems is that you need 900,000 eggs a day in order to make enough vaccines for the American population. You need like 900,000 eggs a day for a year to be able to make these vaccines for people. And if the birds who are dying, then you're not going to have the eggs for that, and people won't have eggs for their baking and their cooking and everything else. So you're going to see dairy prices go up through the roof. Milk here. Pre-COVID, milk was $2.99 a gallon. So every time I go to the grocery store, milk was $2.99 a gallon. Sometimes I see it on sale, it'd be like $1.50 if it was on sale. I'm like, oh, sweet, gallon of milk, $1.50. Post-COVID, we'd see price spikes to $4 things, but post-COVID for the last couple of years, it's been $3.69 has been the normal price, and then when it's on sale, it might be $2.47. So a little more than $1 off. Last week, the floor price of milk went from $3.69 to $4.39. So it's up 80 cents, 70 cents, 70 cents. And now it's on sale. It's on sale for $3.39. So basically only 20 cents off of the post-COVID price. And it's because cows are dying, right? Your dairy cows are all bunched close together. They're all sneezing and farting and pissing and shitting, and they're all getting on cells, and they're all getting bird flu, and they're dying. So the number of livestock we're getting our dairy from is reduced. So you got to drive the price up because A, you can, and B, you've got less of it that you're producing. So you need to be able to fund the stuff and go out and buy new heifers and calves and everything else and start your dairy farms all over. Same thing with the bird farm. So yeah, we're gonna see that regardless of whether it's actual like innate inflation because the dollar's worth less, but we're gonna see the prices on eggs and other dairy products go through the roof over the short term because of bird flu. So get used to that, John. Get used to that. Okay, I'll do one more. Stoopy Ham, yo, Houston's cat. What is your thoughts on another GME stock split in the future? Thanks, and it's come here. You're not doing it. You're a fat turd. I don't see a GME stock split happening in the near term. Maybe if the floor price gets back up to $100 plus, yeah, they might do a splividend again, and then they'll definitely write the splividend differently so that the DTCC can't steal all those shares. But yeah, possible. I don't think we're at a price point where they would need to do that. Okay, well, that's it for today. I will try to do a show tomorrow. I'm going to try and do each one every day this week and maybe every day next week, just in case we get the volatility and things like that happening. And plus, why not? It's wintertime, it's cold. It's gross outside. We hang out. Unless you're in Australia, then it's like probably lovely or fire season, one or the other. All right. Everybody, you have a great night, and I'll catch you on the flip side. It is dark outside, so I might as well do that.